Hey there, Internet Keeve here, and welcome to another episode of Keeve's Crib. This is episode number 2. This is basically the progress of the build. The next episode after this will be the wall-mounted pressure washer system, trying to get all that together. I'm sorry for this episode. I don't have any time-lapse footage or anything like that of me doing any of this work, but we will have that further down the road because I really want to do one of those wash bay in 10-minute videos. Would be pretty cool. So we'll do time-lapse of me doing these walls and the ceiling, all this kind of stuff. I can see, you already see I have AC in here now, and a whole bunch of other stuff that we'll go through. I don't have my cameraman. He's here, but he's yelling at his video game over there in the other room, so let's get right into it. So we mentioned in a previous video that we wanted as much headroom as possible, but we're still going to have to do a drop ceiling. So in order to make that drop ceiling as high as possible, we had to get rid of the garage door opener and its track because it was kind of impeding. We would have to drop the drop ceiling below the garage door. We want the drop ceiling above the garage door. Genie has a wall-mounted solution. I mean, I love it. It works really well. It was expensive. $500 is pretty expensive for a garage door opener because that's with Wi-Fi, has the app. Gives you the ability to do virtual keys and schedule times for people to open doors, Amazon deliveries, that kind of thing. It's really smooth. It's quieter. You don't have the vibrations on the ceiling. All works out pretty well. For like $100 less, you could get the wired only version. I just prefer the Wi-Fi version because I can open the door from my phone. Now, you see the light right here. I had to put that there because in order for you to be able to use the app on your phone, the Bluetooth light has to be there because it gives warning flashes. If you don't have that hooked up, you can use the keypad that comes with it. It's wireless as well, but you can't open and close the door from the app. So here we go. It'll take a second or two to get the communication through. Now we're going to close it. Now, if you had noticed, it did at the very beginning when it goes down, it does this really weird shake and vibration, but that's actually by design. The motor is checking the tension on the wires going down. So that right there is what's left of the old garage door opener. As you can see, the track is gone. The mounting points are gone, and it's sitting over here. Don't quite know what to do with it yet. So the biggest progress that we've made is behind me. The utility room is pretty much done. There isn't much of a sound going on in the video compared to the other ones. Once the doors close, it's basically almost completely gone. It's not the best job in the world. I must admit, I'm a little slightly disappointed in myself that I didn't get things straighter, but when they built this utility room, these are warped boards. The doorway wasn't completely square. It just was a disaster, but we got it up. As you see the line up there, that's about where the drop ceiling is going to be, so that will hide all that. But we got the soundproof insulation in there. That put up. The door was a whole other nightmare. It was measured at 30 by 80. The door is 32 inches wide. The doorway was 32 inches wide, so a 30 by 80 door usually ends up being 32 by 82. The extra 2 inches of, all of the, board around and everything. But guess what? It was mislabeled, so nothing fit. I didn't feel like throwing it in my mother-in-law's Jeep and going all the way back to Home Depot, so I just figured it out. Grooved into the 2x4s, put the hinges in there. I made it to where the door would fit. I took apart all of the pieces they had around that door and I just framed it as best I could. Looks like crap, but we'll fill it all in with wood putty. We'll get it sanded down. We'll get all this painted, looking really nice. Obviously the mic is pointed towards it, so it will be a little more amplified, but now listen when the door opens. Big difference, huh? Here is the soundproof insulation. It works really well. Sorry for the noise in here, but also I tapped into my existing AC right here. We cut a 6-inch hole using foil tape and a 25-foot long hose. The one thing I didn't have was hangers, but I had some really massive hose clamps. So I took the last notch of the hose clamp and screwed it to the truss up there, wrapped it around the hose, and then screwed it down just a little bit for it to hang. Now, before I said we were going to hang electricity over to the other side to do the Ryobi battery charging, but I decided to go ahead and do it in this room. I already had electricity in here. It works fine. We'll just mount them to these boards. As you can see, I'm using a sealant on just about every seam, and I actually think I really did a pretty decent job right there. We use stainless steel screws and flange washers. You can definitely tell how the boards were not completely even up and down or left to right, but looks really good from about 20 feet. Here's a utility cart with every tool that I've used so far, and some tools I've used as an excuse to buy. Over here is sawhorse with some of the materials that we use to cut. A lot of the stuff has started to come in for the build. This step stool platform that I did a video on just recently is amazing. I can touch the ceiling. Everything is the perfect height. I don't need a ladder for anything. Now that's what the vent looks like coming out. As you can see, hose clamp. Now this obviously isn't an ideal position because it's in the middle of the room, forcing cold air right at the floor. We will have a diffuser up here with the drop ceiling, so it'll disperse air a lot better. That air conditioner right there does cool off a little bit more, but that blows cold air constantly. This is tapped into the main house's air conditioning. So over there, the temperature gauge inside the house is regulating where the air conditioner is on. I do have the fan running 24/7 to keep the air flowing, to keep it cooler. This saved us a lot of money. This didn't cost much more than $100. So this is the shelving that I'm gonna be using for the pressure washer mounting system. I may actually use this for these walls because this is way cheaper than stainless steel shelving. And it gives me the ability to change the height and distance between shelves later on down the road. These are very heavy duty. So let's go over a few things. The budget was $5,000, right? I have already spent $4,400 of that $5,000. Now $300 to $400 of that is tools that I did not have to do the job. So if you have the tools, you might be okay. But that $4,400 does cover just about everything. I have $600 left to do the bottom moldings on the floor and the containment stripping that I want to use. And I actually think something to cheat that I might be able to use is the garage door seals. And people have you know, a garage that's at the bottom of a grade and the water's always going down the hill in the garage. They make these lips that you can put in front of the garage door because it angles back towards the garage door, and the garage door closes on it, leaves a barrier for the water to not get into the garage. Thinking I might be able to cut and customize those to work all the way around. Ceiling tiles are on the way, drop ceilings on the way, got some of the stuff already. We already bought all the walls. We've already bought this. I say with that extra 600 bucks, I'm going to go ahead and buy insulation. It should cost me maybe, you know, $150 to insulate these walls right here. So these are the dimmable LED panels. They look just like panels. You're barely even going to be able to tell. Nice screen. It's pretty watertight. I might run a bead of sealant around this edge because these aren't replaceable, you know, bulbs or anything. You have the ability to change this between 20 watt, 30 watt, 40 watt, and 3,000, 4,000, and 5,000 K lighting. I'll probably be somewhere around 4K. 5K is a little harsh. That's extreme 5K coming over there. 6 of these for 235 bucks. Pretty good. This is the diffuser for the middle. So basically 6 lights, one over there, one over here, and then 2 on each side. There's no light directly above the vehicle. The lights will be around the vehicle, so there would not be any shadows when we're filming around the car. There'll be plenty of light going across to capture the top of the car. You shouldn't have anything above it. This right here is going to make things much more efficient for the AC, dispersing the air evenly across the room rather than one little focused area much higher up. So we have our hanging wire, we have our screws, and our little tool here. These are called eyelet screws. And DeWalt happens to make a special bit just for these screws. All right, let's get into some cool stuff. So we have a meter right here that's gonna be able to judge the watts, amps, anything that we're using when we're using a pressure washer, especially when we're doing foam cannons. We wanna make sure that we're well within the amperage safe for the motor. Also, when we're doing pressure washer reviews, we wanna make sure that we know which tips, what's the max we can go and what's the minimum we can go to be safe for the motor. We have a DigiFlow 6710. So this is going to be able to allow us to count the amount of gallons that's coming out of the deionization system and the gallons per minute flow that's coming out of that system as well. We also have another one that we're going to be putting on the bypass of the DI system so we can see how many gallons we're using just in general and what GPM we're getting going to the unit that way. I think this is really cool. This is going to allow us to know how well the resins are working, how long they're working, how many gallons they're going. Well, everything else cool is being delivered. The CR Spotless, the hose reel. I just basically picked the same hose reel that's on the Ultimate Wash Cart, like I said before. I picked up a hose from a different company. So it's a $60 non-marking gray hose, 4,000 PSI, heavy hose. We're going to check that out, see if that's a really good idea, because that's a really good value. It's $59.99 for basically a Cobra Jet hose that doesn't mark. As you can see here, I've started to map out how I'm going to be hanging the unit VA52 on top, Greenworks 1700 just underneath it. We'll have another shelf just for the foam cannons, the most popular things that I use. They'll be right there ready to go. We already have our jumper cable right there. I got an 8-footer because we're gonna have to go to 2 different ones. I didn't know 4-foot was enough. Tons of PVC, glue, fittings, all kinds of stuff. Shut off valves that we're gonna be able to use to bypass the DI or not. Cutting tool for PVC. This actually was the plan I used when I went into Home Depot. So outside of the AC system, the biggest deviation that we've made from the original plan in episode 1, which there's going to be many deviations, obviously this is an ongoing project, is we are going to be locating the pressure washer system here. It's just easier to do it here. The plumbing's already here. It's a nice little space. Another reason is over there in the corner where I originally said I was going to put it, I think is a better area for a nice storage cabinet. Out of the way where it doesn't jut out into the work area, and I think in the other corner of the room. So we'll have 2, one for the microfibers and stuff, one for the excess chemicals. You know when you're running a pressure washer, a vacuum cleaner, or anything, and it's in the same outlet as lights, whenever you click or turn it on, the lights flicker. I want to have a dedicated circuit so I don't get that stupid, you know, garage light flashing thing. So it looks like I'm going to become an electrician. I'm going to run 15 amp or 20 amp, probably up over there in the corner off of that pillar. Then I'll just run it over there to the fuse box. And then depending on my confidence level, depends on whether I bring somebody in just to do that. But you know, minimum to get a, you know, an electrician house, a couple $100. I probably could post on Instagram and ask for some help. But I think I can figure it out. Just take the cover off, shut the main power off to the house, pop a fuse in there with the wires in it, and good to go. Now all the electricians in the comments are going to be coming for me, right? But do let me know. I mean, if there's more to it than that, let me know. I mean, obviously I watched enough YouTube videos on electricians. I was able to figure out the HVAC pretty easily. Like right there, the main power for the house, it kind of curves out and goes back up that way. It's just too big and heavy to move, so I got to have a wave around that. But which is nice with this PolyWall is I can get around that. The water, it's going to be waterproof regardless. And here's that PolyWall, and you see how flexible it is. Just think about one guy by himself trying to hang these 8 foot in the air and have that thing fall on him constantly. It wasn't fun at all. I definitely cussed a lot. So at the garage door opener, to make sure that it doesn't get wet, I believe up here I'm going to put a cabinet on the wall, cheaper, you know, vinyl cabinet, cut out the back to where the garage door opener can come through it, a slit on the side for the shaft right there, and that way that plug will be inside that cabinet. I can get to it if I need it, and I think that'll work out really good. So that's it for this episode. Only deviated from the plan twice, which I actually think is pretty good. Nothing major. I actually had mentioned about the, you know, wall mounted solution. We could put it in 2 different places. The AC system is probably the biggest one. Probably saved me $800 or so. Tapping into the main one of the house, I think that would save electricity overall rather than one of those big units. Majority of everything I've purchased off of Amazon. A few things I got at Home Depot. So there'll be links in the description below for anything that I've shown in the video so far. That Genie, that's freaking amazing. I don't understand why you would ever want a chain drive or screw drive ceiling mount anymore. Obviously price is a factor. You could probably buy 2, almost 3 for that same price. But that thing is amazing. It's quiet, less vibration. Not sponsored or anything, I just freaking love it. So give me your feedback in the comments. Let me know, hey, is there something I could be doing differently? And we're not fully done with this yet. We're only a week into the build. We have this much progress already. I hope to have the whole thing done in less than a month. Shooting kind of high there, but we'll see. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Hey there, Internet Keeve here, and welcome to the first things that come out of my mouth. I don't know what it is, but when the cars come down this side road, they make a lot more noise, even with the garage door closed. That sound like something was wrong, but that's not. Now you notice that, but we have here it comes to get me out. Who wants to just drive around the neighborhood in an off-road golf cart? You hear them? They're having the time of their life out there. The tools that I bought as an excuse from this spread the air better. The drop ceiling will insulate better. Freaking tripped on that. I did not know you still need an HVAC tech. You still had to pay an HVAC tech. This didn't cost much. This isn't cost. This right here, oh my god, a big storage, better place for like a big storage cabinet. The word's cabinet. anything from the video anything from the video, oh my gosh.